Hey, we're almost ready to get started, just slowly getting more and more people coming in. Thank you for joining. It's Hero Mode On, helping you tell your professional story, and it's 12 o'clock now, so I'm going to get started. There will be some more people joining us, definitely, but I don't want to take up too much time with this little bit of housekeeping at the beginning. My name's Jennifer Jenkins. I organize career services for the University of Alberta Alumni Association. I'm joined by my colleague Veronica, and we hope you find this session helpful and enriching. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the University of Alberta, its buildings, labs, and research stations are primarily located on the territory of Nehiawa, Niitsitapi, Métis, Dene, Iroquois, Anishinaabe, and lands that are now known as part of Treaties 6 and 7 and homeland of the Métis. The University of Alberta respects the sovereignty, lands, histories, languages, knowledge systems, and cultures of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit nations. There are 300,000 alumni around the world, and you'll find that wherever you end up after graduation, there are alumni that want to help out. So just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. We'll be taking questions throughout the presentation, and you can actually access the Q&A box along the bottom bar of your Zoom screen there. And you'll be able to see other guests' questions and upvote them, and the ones that have the most votes will float to the top. Navaid will try to get to as many as possible, but time permitting, so we'll see how that goes. We can also chat with each other in the chat box there, but Navaid's going to probably be able to see that, but not prioritize it for questions. So if you have actual questions and aren't just, thinking out loud or wanting to share with the group, put those in the Q&A box. So Zoom now offers closed captioning. If you'd like to use this feature, please click the CC button on your toolbar. If you'd like to turn it off, let's press More and select Hide Subtitles. So now on to introducing Navaid. He's, I think this is his fourth session actually presenting for us, and they're always really well received and well attended. And you'll hear about some more offerings we've partnered with Navaid to bring you. They're pretty exciting. But for today, Navaid's the founder of Latterly, a career coaching platform dedicated to bridging mentorship, the mentorship gap between students, recent graduates, professional newcomers, and seasoned industry leaders and executives. He's a lifelong mentor and public speaker, and he's delivered workshops for students and alumni at Yale University, London Business School, and the University of Alberta. And he empowers participants to map out purposeful and achievable career paths. He was formerly a project manager at CNRL, and having worked at Shell, Navaid transitioned into strategy and venture capital. Through his MBA at London Business School, Navaid worked with the National Basketball Association, McKinsey & Company, and supported early-stage founders at a climate-focused venture capital fund, Helios. His diverse career path fuels his commitment to helping others navigate their own transitions with clarity, confidence, and ambition. I'm going to turn things over to Navaid now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. Super awesome to see you guys. Amazing. Welcome. Today's session is going to be a lot. I encourage you to take as many notes as possible. I request that you ask questions, message things in the chat. This is not going to be just a me talk session. Otherwise, it will get very boring very quickly. And I also want to caveat that the goal here is really just to have the most impact for you. So no dumb questions, ask away as we go, and you don't need to wait for a pause or anything like that. So today's session is called Hero Mode On. This session essentially is going to be broken into an opportunity to leave about 30 minutes, and if you want to stay longer, I'll be here. But what we're going to uncover are your strengths, and you're going to walk away from the session with what I call a hero statement that you can use in interviews, leadership conversations, and kind of everyday pitches or challenges that you might have. It's going to influence your resume, it's going to influence your cover letter and your LinkedIn. And so I'm hoping that from this session, you'll be able to take some of that away. What would be really helpful for me, just to make sure that you guys can use the chat function, whatever, is maybe just let me know maybe one word in the chat that describes what quality you'd like to see others in you when you kind of pitch. Maybe that would be like leadership. Maybe that would be, I don't know, courage, something like that. But just to help me understand if the chat box working, throw it in the chat. Let me know what your one word is. I'd be super, super appreciative. So thank you for that. Adaptability. I love that. That's actually a really good one. That actually might be the best one, Nate, because that's the only one so far. There's a whole bunch of other people. Service, leadership, integrity. Okay, I love this. I can work with this. This works. I appreciate you guys' input here. Um, okay, so let's go through this. Why am I doing this session? So in interviews, candidates who clearly articulate their strengths are more than twice as likely to be recommended for hire compared to those who don't. So what am I trying to convey here? What does this mean? If you are the perfect candidate in an interview, you crush the technicals, you know the content, you know the company, you'd expect to get the job. Like that would be the rational next step. Unfortunately, if you cannot connect your skills to how you deliver value for the interviewer, you're going to fall short. And this is something that I have seen in interviews, something that I have rejected candidates for, things that I have been told people have been rejected for, or feedback that they've gotten is they just didn't understand how the skill set can directly go above and beyond what is requested. And so what I'm hoping to do with this is to give it to you. All right. So we kind of talked about me a little bit, but just very quickly, I used to be an U of A alum, or I guess I am a U of A alum, love U of A. I've worked for McKinsey, Shell, Canadian Natural, I had a stint at the National Basketball Association, did time at Yale, London Business School, and I've helped people land jobs everywhere. I've helped train conductors get jobs. I've helped police officers become consultants in security. I've seen investment bankers land jobs at JP Morgan Chase, and people get consulting roles at companies like Bain and Co. So I've really seen the gamut. I've seen newcomers, I've seen students. So I've seen everything up to even senior executives. So I really hope today that I'm able to kind of convey some of that to you. So take what I say and keep the parts you like, don't keep the parts you don't like, and we'll kind of run from there. Okay, now let's just kind of dive into it here. So what would be really helpful is to understand what we're going to do. So the first part is we're going to reflect together. So you're going to do the work here. You're going to uncover kind of moments that reveal your strengths. Once we have an idea of that, we're going to kind of capture those ideas. We're going to spot themes that stand out. We're going to then draft a hero statement collectively together. And then we're going to practice this, which you're going to type your lovely hero statements into the chat box, and I can give some comments on it. And then the last thing is we're going to bring this to reality by putting it in our LinkedIns. And I'm going to show you how to do this effectively. And just telling you now, it's not just copying and pasting your hero statement into LinkedIn. If you do that, it's going to look bad. If you do this into your resume, it's going to look worse. So really careful about how we're using our hero statements. So let's get started. Please have a paper and a pen if you can. If you don't have that and you just want to use your laptop, I will forgive you. It's not as powerful as using a paper and pen. Call me biased, call me old, whatever you'd like. But a paper and pen here is really going to make the difference. All right? So I'm going to ask you a series of 5 questions, and I'm going to give you hints on how to answer them. And I'd like you to write just bullet points on what you think an answer to this question could be. Okay? I don't need you to write a sentence or anything on your own pieces of paper, just a quick bullet. Okay? So, first question. Question number 1. When have you felt most energized in the past 6 months? So just scribble it down. Maybe it was during, I don't know, a certain event or a project. If you can't think of one, I'll give you some hints, okay? So this could be, for example, a moment you lost track of time, you felt excited, or you walked away buzzing with energy. So it's something like that. Just a moment or a time that this happened. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple seconds for that one. Just jot some notes down. Maybe some more examples. Leading a project, collaborating with a high performing team, learning something new or mastering a skill, mentoring, or working with something that aligned with your like personal core values. Those would be really good things. Okay, number 2. What do people consistently come to you for? As a hint, do people come to you to organize chaos or to proofread, troubleshoot tech, to mediate conflict? This could be for like career guidance. It could be for clarity or problem solving, motivation and confidence, communication, storytelling, connecting or introduction. Some people are just like good connectors. They get two people who need to talk to each other together. That's a really powerful skill as well. Third question. And again, we're just looking for bullets here, not like a big, big story. What is an accomplishment that made you proud and stretched you? So this doesn't have to be something enormous, really. This is about like something that just really you learned a lot from. So like this could be something like launching or leading a new initiative at work. Maybe you started your own company. Maybe you earned a role or an internship at a top firm. You delivered a high stakes presentation. You mentored or coached someone to kind of some sort of breakthrough, or you balanced competing priorities under like serious pressure. So again, an accomplishment that made you proud or stretched you. Okay. Number four, there's only one more after this one. And I know I'm going quick, so chop chop. How did you solve an impossible problem? Some hints here. Focus on your role or your unique contributions in helping move towards that impossible problem. So this could be like turning around a struggling project or finding funding or resources when none existed, maybe aligning conflict or teams or personalities. It could be simplifying complexity or adapting under pressure. Now, for those of you who are new to kind of the work world, you've just graduated perhaps, you can think of university projects. These would totally be acceptable as well, that you did. Or maybe you have an extracurricular that like really takes a big part of your life. This would also be something to focus on too. And again, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat, throw them in the question box. I will get on top of it. And then last question for our question set. Number five, what's a crucial job that you got done in a very, very tight timeline? So hint here, what does this say about how you operate when the stakes are super high? So maybe you delivered a client presentation or an investment memo. You built a financial or market model overnight. Maybe you led a last minute project that pivoted, coordinated multiple stakeholders under a tight timeline, or you turn feedback into a refined deliverable in like a really short period of time. So again, now we've done five questions. So let's go back again in case you missed any of them. When have you felt most energized in the past 6 months? What do people consistently come to you for? What is an accomplishment that made you proud and stretched you? How did you solve an impossible problem? And what is a crucial job you've got done on a tight timeline? Okay, I asked you a lot of questions. You've probably written them down a lot. I hope. I really hope. And now it's time to reflect. Okay? So the first step in reflection, I want you to underline or circle repeated words or themes in your bullets. So take just a moment to do that. Okay? Maybe the same idea keeps showing up. Maybe you're helping others grow or mentor, you're translating complexity into clarity, or maybe it's a lot of leadership stuff or working towards purpose or energizing others. Maybe you're thriving when stakes are high. Does anyone have a word that or a theme that keeps coming up? Maybe you can throw it in the chat just so I know that I haven't lost you guys just yet. Alignment, problem solving. Nice. Can you show the previous two screens one more time? 10 seconds. Yes. For Omar, for you, anything, my friend. I will show you the last two screens again. So again, just a couple seconds here. And while that's happening, I'll read the others. Connection, tech project, knowledgeable, guidance, chaos wrangler. Man, Janelle, that sounds amazing. I like that. We're going to put that on your LinkedIn, my friend. By the end of this, that's going to be all over your LinkedIn. I love that. And maybe the others can cheat and copy yours, but I didn't say that. That doesn't come from me. Okay, Omar, that's the first page. And here's your second page, Omar. Don't, you're holding the team up. You're lagging the team here. Give you a couple more seconds. Okay? So again, you've underlined a word. You've circled repeating words. I hope you can kind of see a theme here. That's my goal. Oh, there's actually something about me I didn't realize before. Maybe, maybe. And this is hard. This is not easy. This is not an easy thing to do. So again, a little bit of work. Okay, so again, now I want you to internalize that. Take it in. What does it say about me? Maybe you learned something about yourself you didn't know before. Share it in the chat. Maybe you learned that you're actually super impatient, and that's good because your boss wants really quick answers or something like that. Or maybe you're the person that people come to when all of the poop hits the fan and everybody freaks out. Maybe that's who you are. Tell me what you've learned about yourself, even if it's just a word. I'd love to see. I'm eagerly waiting your messages, please. Strategist. Dean's a strategist. I love that, Dean. Jonathan's the voice of reason and calmness. Jonathan, just reading your note made me calmer. So I think this is very good. Master plate spinner. Okay, Natalie, you and I have to have a conversation. I don't know what that's all about. Community empower, collaborator, love it. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna go to the next step. Go to for mentoring and give her ideas. Okay, how does this relate to my career? So now we've learned something about ourselves, hopefully. We have some themes. Now we have to relate this to our job. So, for example, Community empower. Nate, I love that. So maybe you can think about how do you like empower communities at work. Maybe it's a team that you get together, or maybe it's like multiple teams from different sides of the business and you bring them together and you're good at that. You can be that person. Or Alan, you're a go-to for mentoring. So maybe if you're a supervisor, for example, you're really good at developing people. And this is your like big, big value add to the company. It's not that you can just do the work, but you can actually get people to where you are, for example. So I really want you to start internalizing. Write down some ideas on that paper, right? Just keep writing, scribble, scribble away. How does this relate to my career? I really want you to take that in. And the last thing I really want you guys to think about is kind of connecting it to that question I asked you earlier. What do you want to be known for? So if you want to be known for something and it's related to your skill, perfect. Now we have a method of making it work. Omar, I like your comment. When working under pressure to meet scheduling deadlines, I can continuously think big picture and keep calm in the chaos. Perfect. These are really good. And if that's, for example, what Omar wants to be known for, then this is perfect. We have the match. We're ready for the hero statement. Okay. So now I'm going to give you the formula for hero statement. Now you can take a screenshot of the screen if you want, but I'd encourage you to write it down on the piece of paper. This is hard. The next steps are really, really hard. So stay with me here. All right. Hero statement follows this formula. Again, screenshot, write it down. If you can write it down, I prefer that, but obviously some flexibility here. I, between brackets, unique strength or trait. Who, impact action, by how you did it. So this is your hero statement. So I know this is a bit complex, okay? I'm going to give you some examples to kind of clarify it because I know that this is kind of a weird template. You've never seen this before. But essentially the idea here is that we're trying to show some value. It's kind of trying to be a blend of your skills of what you bring to the table, okay? That's what we're trying to do. All right. Now I'm going to give you some examples to help explain this, and then we'll come back to this. I promise we'll have time to practice this, okay? So some examples of what this looks like. I've given you three, okay? So I don't know, maybe you fall into one of these three buckets. For those of us that are consultants, you could say something like, I'm a structured problem solver who simplifies complexity into clear actions by building frameworks that help teams move faster and smarter. Doesn't have to be this long. This is an example, but you can see it kind of follows the I, unique strength. This person's unique strength is a structured problem solver, right? Who simplifies complexity, right? And the last part is how I did it by building frameworks, right? So keywords, I am, second set, who, and third set is by doing whatever. Okay, so I'm going to bring back the original formula. Oh, actually, well, I'll go over the other two. So people leader, I am, right? An empathetic leader who brings out the best in others by listening deeply, asking sharp questions, and creating an environment where ideas thrive. The last one is innovator slash creative. I am an innovator who turns challenges into opportunities by sparking fresh ideas and uniting behind them. Now, here, in my opinion, the most valuable one is the last one, but it doesn't, it's everyone's unique. So you may need to have your own, or that might look different for all of you, okay? Statement. Thank you very much, Greg, for the flag. I love being called on my typos, so keep them coming. Okay, let's practice, okay? So I want you all to write these down. I want you to make it unique. Try not to use too many buzzwords. I know that's kind of hard to do, but I want you to think about what is the thing, the skill, the unique quality that I have, and how do I put it into this sentence, okay? Now, if the first there's a little bit of a prize here, okay? And it's a lot of bragging rights and maybe some self-confidence. First person to give me theirs, I will not make fun of them. That's pretty good. I take that as a reward. Nate's asking, how do you choose between what's an impact versus how you do it? Aren't they interchangeable? So that's a good question. So an impact is the result. The how you do it is kind of more of the process, right? So if we go back to our previous examples, so I am a structured problem solver who simplifies complexity. So in that situation, the problem solver is the strength, and the impact is simplifies complexity. So they're doing the simplifying complexity through their unique quality of being a structured problem solver. There's a little bit of interchangeableness, like I'm not going to completely disagree with you, but the idea is that you're just trying to show what you're capable of following this simple formula. So if you change it around a little bit, I'm not going to call you on it by any means. Okay, so give it a go. I'm going to give you guys a grand total of, I was going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes seems like a really long time. So let's just take a minute or two and just draft one up. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? I'll put the examples back because I think this is the slide that helps most people figure out what they want. But ask your questions, okay? This is your time. Use it or lose it. If you're not drafting, you're not using your time effectively. And I really want you guys to get the most out of this. So please, please, please draft them. And again, first person who gives me their draft, brownie points. Oh, you guys lost. Emma won. Congratulations, Emma. You are the coolest person in this webinar right now. So Emma says, I am a community connector who helps build consensus by creating community engagement opportunities that are fair and accessible. Emma, that is a hell of a hero statement. I really like that one. Actually, I don't even have notes for you. Like, that's a big win, and I love that. The only thing I would say is that you use the word community twice. If you can change one of the communities to something else, that'd be great. Blanca, let's read yours. I am a creative go-getter who enjoys learning new technology and teaching it to others by encouraging people to keep trying and persevering. I like this. I like this. Go-getter who enjoys learning new tech. See, the learning new technology is really what brought it together there. I really like the fact that you're thinking about like, especially in the age of AI and modern tech, this is really good. I would just maybe give you one comment and say that like I'd say maybe think a little bit more about like you're a creative go-getter, but what does that really mean? Maybe it means that you're good at distilling creative ideas, or maybe it means you are able to, I don't know, take people's ideas to the next level. That has a little bit more impact than go-getter, because go-getter is just a little bit too vague. But otherwise, I get what you're trying to like put down, and I like it. Okay, let's read Omar's. Omar says, I'm a thoughtful leader who focuses on people's strength by focusing on people and culture, by creating environments where people can experiment, be themselves, transform themselves for the better. Okay, Omar, you're on the right track here. Note number one, too many uses of the word people. I like the fact that you're a thoughtful leader, and I like the fact that you focus on people's strength. Now, if you can get that down just a little bit, compress it, you can cheat and use ChatGPT, ask it to compress it. This would be a fantastic hero statement. I think we're getting the idea here. So I'm going to keep going. Feel free to keep posting them. I will read them as we go. But the idea here is that you kind of now have an like a sense of what I'm trying to drive through. What is everyone's unique superpower? And they're all different. They'll all be a little bit unique. Okay, so I was going to give you 5 minutes. We heard some examples. You guys volunteered. Fantastic. I'm going to tell you how to use this now. Okay, this is very important. This is maybe the most important slide in this deck, maybe. So the first thing is this doesn't go on a CV, okay? You don't throw this in like a professional profile section or something like that because it's just a little bit too on the nose and doesn't really speak to what needs to be on a CV. So leave this off the CV for now. I'll tell you a better place to put it, okay? The bigger part of how to use this is to know what your worth is. Now that you know what your superpower is or what makes you unique, you can use this to shape and explain the things that you're trying to do in your job or what the value is you're trying to give to your future job or even your current job for that matter. And the most impactful place you're going to use it right now is in your interview stories. So when you get those questions in an interview, like, oh, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult person, or tell me about your biggest accomplishment, this is where you can use this superpower. This is where this is really, really, really impactful because now you know something about yourself that adds value. Those are the perfect interview answer questions, okay? So how do I mean this? Of course, I got your back. I got examples all day, every day. Example answer. I didn't just pull that question out of random. Dealing with a difficult person. So let's say, for example, your hero statement. Now, this is a super short example of a hero statement. I build clarity and collaboration when things feel chaotic. Now, granted, this doesn't follow our formula and it's short, but you will eventually distill yours down to essentially a sentence. Let's assume that like we took Omar's, we distilled it down to like the main core idea, and it's this. The correct answer to this question, or a really good example of an answer to this question, assuming this person's hero statement is this, would be the following. It's a little long, so bear with me, but you can see the hero statement I've bolded in black in the middle, how to apply it, okay? So the answer to this question would be, in a cross-functional project, one senior engineer kept pushing back on deadlines and rejecting suggestions from the team. Rather than debating, I met him one-on-one to unpack his concerns and learned he felt the project scope kept shifting. I created a shared tracker outlining priorities and decision owners, something we could both update weekly. That small step turned things around. He started sharing updates proactively, and our meetings became focused instead of tense. It reinforced something I've learned across roles. When people feel seen and secure, they feel seen and structure is clear, collaboration follows naturally. So here, what I've done, or what this candidate did, is they took their hero story. They know what their value is. Really, their value is building collaboration when things feel chaotic, and they made it a bullet. The way that they actually did that is they made that tracker, and then it helped organize things. And you can see in the learned part, which you should always have in a answering interview question, you pull it together. You say, because I was able to do this, my value add, my hero statement, I learned this, or I was able to deliver this result, right? That's crucial. So, any questions so far on this? I'll give you another example, I promise. But this is really, really powerful once you know your value to make your interview answers really match the value that you can deliver. So, no questions yet. That's okay. If you have them, you can write them. I will go to the next example while I'm waiting for questions. Okay? All right. So, another example. What is your biggest accomplishment? See, again, I primed you. This person's hero statement is I help teams turn ambitious ideas into practical, measurable impact. Okay. So the example answer here for this looks like this. My biggest accomplishment was leading a cross-functional project that launched a new internal analytics tool in just 6 weeks. It was something I had stalled for months before I joined. I started to clarify the end goal with stakeholders, and then broke the project into sprints so everybody knew exactly what success looked like each week. By the deadline, we not only launched the tool, but trained 100 plus users and reduced reporting time by 40%. What I'm most proudest isn't just of the numbers, is that I helped the team move from frustration to momentum by turning a big fuzzy goal into something tangible. Okay, so we can see here, this person's goal is to help turn ambitious ideas into practical, measurable impact, and they clearly did that in this answer. It is immediately like visible to me how those two kind of connect. Okay, all right. So no questions so far. A couple more hero statements. So I'm gonna read through these. Jennifer's got one. I'm a super organizer who helps people tackle big challenges by distilling. Oh, I lost it. By distilling them down into manageable steps. I like that. I like being a super organizer. Okay, note, super organizer might come across as a little bit too much, but I like the conciseness of it. I would kind of, if it's for example data analytics, maybe you can be like, you can use a different word instead of super organizer, but I really like what you did there, okay? Jonathan's got, I'm an outcome-oriented and empathetic leader who empowers others through unbridled passion, active inquiry, and creating environments where others thrive. Wow, like poetry. Like poetry. I really like that. I think the only note that I would have, I think empathetic leader who empowers others through unbridled passion. So the word unbridled sounds a little much. Just through my desire to see others grow would be, I think, maybe a bit more of a powerful statement. Um, Amir's asking if I can show the formula again. Yeah, I can definitely show the formula again, Amir. This is the formula. And then there are a couple questions in the, oh, thank you very much. I'm totally ignoring the question and answer box. Let me just pull it up really quick.
Oh, don't worry about it, Navita. I just put it in there for you. It's in the chat.
Oh, thank you. You're the best, Jennifer. I really appreciate that. Someone's put, I am a confident Indigenous woman who promotes inclusive education by allowing students to discover and know themselves. Wow, that's beautiful. First of all, big kudos. I think, though, confident in this case isn't your unique skill. I think confident is your character, and I love that for you. But if we can change confident to something a little bit more focused on a quality that you have, like maybe your ability to promote or your ability to, can we maybe change that to like, I don't know, Indigenous woman who promotes inclusive education and allowing education to discover themselves and know themselves. Advocate, love it. I'm Indigenous advocate. That's so okay. You answered my question for you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Beautiful. So net full props. Courtney's got, I'm an innovative digital leader who helps teams harness technology by enabling their data and people for productivity and transformation. I like this. I like this. Team harness technology. So again, that harness technology part, maybe integrates technology would be better, or like wields technology. Like give it a little bit of a oomph. again, nobody's gonna hear these except for you guys, but like just really like distill it. But I love it. I think Courtney, that's fantastic. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna assume that now we have the formula. Amir, I'm hoping you have the formula now. You can take a screenshot or write it down if you haven't already. We're gonna go ahead. We've gone through a couple of examples. So now, just again, the really main oh, and it wrote authentic. Authentic is okay. I think advocate would be better. So maybe the typo was actually really good. But feel free to just message me if you don't like it. It's totally fine. Um, okay. The real idea here, what I was trying to get at is I think you guys have a great understanding of kind of how to apply this functionally, which is what I was going for. Now that you understand how to apply this functionally in interviews, the next real step for you is understanding kind of, okay, now that we've got this down, how do we apply it beyond the interview questions? And that's where LinkedIn becomes really important. Okay. So we are going to jump into LinkedIn. So if you are on a kind of your device, I want you to log into LinkedIn. Oof, beginning to lose my words here. I want you to log into LinkedIn. I want you to go to your profile, okay? And I want you to go to your about section. Now, this is where your super hero power, your hero statement can really, really show. So I just found a random person, okay? I don't know this person, but they had a really good about section that I really like. It doesn't really follow the hero statement, but I want you just to see where to put it. Now, if you're on LinkedIn and you cannot find where this is, I made a little guide for you, so you can take a screenshot of this. You go to the add profile section here, you click on the core section, and then there's the click add about. So this is where we want to put our about section. Now we don't have to use the exact wording that we have from this session, the one that you and I have put together, the one that we've put together. You can actually transform this into a larger about section that kind of talks about your overall career and your goals and everything. But in this about section, you're really going to drive home this idea that you have a superpower and you know how to use it. And that's what we're going for. So in Laura's example, she says, I'm an influential, action-focused business leader with 25 years of international experience driving performance, growth for global leaders in the TMT sector. And then she goes on to talk about her experience. But that first statement, although it does not follow our formula, kind of gives you an idea of who this person is, what they are about. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The about section is only really read by recruiters once they're interested in your profile to begin with. But, but when they're on your page, they may have a look at this. And I think that having a hero statement here and what I've seen has been really, really valuable in terms of people being able to show and demonstrate their capacity to do this and to kind of share their skills right away. Again, you knowing this is going to make you crush the interviews. And on top of that, now your LinkedIn is going to have kind of a component of this. Are there any questions on the about section? Feel free to write them either in the Q&A or in the just in the regular webinar chat. I will look at both. But I'm not seeing any just yet, which means you guys are all LinkedIn pros, which is great. I'll give that a second just to stew. While we do that, we'll talk about the other place on your LinkedIn where this should really show up, okay? Oh, actually, I have an example, which is great. So we'll go through this example, and you guys can take a screenshot of this if you want. But so I'm a strategy and operations professional with experience in, ooh, I lost a page. Sorry. Experience in consulting, energy, and venture capital. I've helped organizations streamline processes, build growth strategy, and deliver measurable results at company A and B. And this is where I put my superpower. We're just using my example. My superpower is turning complexity into clarity. I am a creative problem solver who builds frameworks that inspires action from aligning senior leaders on priorities to helping teams execute with confidence. Again, very, very, very not the formula I gave you, but you can understand how you can kind of pull this apart from the formula that I gave you. Looking ahead, I'm hoping to do this, this, and this, right? This is a great about section. If yours look like this, it's fantastic. If it doesn't, that's fine. But we really want to incorporate, we really, really want to distill out the value part, which is your superpower. And you don't have to use my superpower in the language. I just really want you to talk about what it can look like, okay? All right. So, as promised, 30 minutes. There's a jump off point. If you need to be done with your lunch or whatever, you need to go back to work. That's fine. If you want to stay with us, we're going to keep going. There's some more really high value stuff here. Again, ask questions about anything and we'll go through. All right. So, the other part where this is really, really, really valuable is your LinkedIn header. So once you have a really good superpower, if you distill this bad boy slash bad girl slash bad thing, it down to its core, you really can have a fantastic header. And this is the very first thing that anyone who sees your LinkedIn profile will look at is your header. So I've highlighted a couple examples here, and I will, of course, as I always do, give you a formula for this. But let's just look at some of them together, okay? So Blake, I don't know this person, don't spam them. Blake is a Cambridge linguist and AI engineer, and his superpower is building the future of language learning. Now, it's kind of implicit from this that he has a bit of a tech experience from his AI, so his superpower is clearly using tech to build the future of language learning. Again, a little bit of a nuance, but you can tell very clearly that Blake understands his value proposition. He understands what he can deliver to an organization, which is fantastic. So really, really want you to see how you take that little sentence that we worked on together and how you plug it into your header. Okay, Stefano. Stefano is helping leaders and teams achieve peak performance. Now he's missing the how he does it, but in his other lines, he actually kind of explains it. So he does strategy and growth, he does executive team coaching, he does an angel investing, and he's got experience at these cool companies. Okay. So you can kind of see his value prop right away. Michael's kind of the same, driving growth and digital transformation in insurance. And Jamie's got building lasting partnerships. So clearly Jamie's a person who can bring people together, kind of we talked about before, and he understands folks really well. So super good people skills, I imagine. I'm realizing that my visual is not very diverse. I will strive to make that better for the next iteration of this, but I think you get the idea of what this can look like. So I would love to try this with you guys. It's a little bit difficult over the chat box, but I'd really like to see you guys follow this rule or this formula, sorry. So the formula is as follows, and I want you to write this down. It's your role slash skill plus your superpower plus like keywords that are related to kind of the things that you're working on. So these could be, for example, companies that you used to work for or specific skill sets that you have that are relevant to what you're trying to get into. So let's play with this a little bit, okay? Alan, I'm really glad that you came. Do the survey after we're done. But for those of you who are staying, please, please, please give this a go, okay? So I want you to try.
Neve,
Yes.
sorry. Nate had a question about those profiles that you just showed, whether or not they are, some of those have a little bit of buzzword in them. So I was hoping you could answer.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. And I really, Jen, appreciate you calling me on the Q&A. I keep missing it. So yes, some of these definitely have buzzwords, right? Like we're going to be better than this. Maybe a couple of like buzzwords here would be like I don't know, like angel investors is pretty buzzy. This is kind of vague, but because of the way that they've put it together, you have an understanding of their value prop. Now, obviously, in an interview, you're not going to see like you help leaders and teams achieve peak performance because that's not enough. You need to explain how to do it. But this essentially kind of explains what this person's like value can be, if that makes sense. So again, very fair, definitely a little buzzwordy, but social media is going to be innately a little bit buzzworthy. Okay, hopefully I answered that question. My bad if I didn't, and call me on it if I didn't. Okay, formula, role, skill, superpower, keyword. Let's give this a go. First person who puts it in the chat, you get a little prize. And again, that prize is bragging rights. And I'm going to call you awesome in front of everyone else, which I think is worth a lot, in my personal opinion. You got to take the wins when you get them. And again, I'll leave these as kind of helpers. They're not really the perfect model, but just so you can get an idea. All right, who's going to win this race? If it's helpful, I've got some examples, okay? So I've got like consultant, driving growth through data-informed strategy, operations, change, leadership as an example. Project manager, delivering clarity and results under pressure, PMO, so that's project manager office, stakeholder management, execution. This should be a vertical bar. And same with these two. That's my bad. Engineer, designing sustainable systems that perform, innovation, energy, efficiency. All right. Oh, it looks like we may have our winner, and it looks like it's going to be Omar. Omar won. Congratulations, Omar, on being the coolest person in this chat right now. So Omar is engineering and project leader, driving innovation, operational excellence, and strategic execution, building high performance teams and reliable infrastructure. I think that's pretty great. I think that's actually I quite like that. So I think let's just go through it step by step. So your role, engineering and project leader, I think is great. Maybe specifying that down to just like engineering leader, because I think maybe projects might be you can assume that from the title. Uh, Driving innovation, operational excellence, and strategic execution. I think that's pretty great as a second point. Building high performance teams and reliable infrastructure. I like the reliable infrastructure part the most out of that last section because I think it really speaks to like what you're actually building. And in this case, you're building infrastructure. So great job. I think like you followed the role. Your superpower is very evident, and the keywords in there. That the keyword part needs a little bit of work, but otherwise, I think that's quite good. Emma's asking, where do we change this again? Emma, I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you can clarify, I will definitely answer that. And then Marianne's asking if you're a worker bee, how do you write something exciting, dynamic? A worker bee. Okay. So sometimes, oh, okay, asking about where the settings are. I'll definitely go back. So here's where it is for you, Emma. And then Marianne, you're not just a worker bee. Everyone in their organization has something of value to offer, something that is their superpower. So I really want you to think about what is it that people come to you for to be able to put this together. And then you're going to translate that into, again, your title, so your role, and then what value you bring, and the keywords that go behind that. So if you are happy to share what you do, I can give you a perfect example. Otherwise, you're not just a worker bee. I promise you're not just a worker bee. Pull and stretch just a tiny, tiny bit, and then we'll kind of go from there. Yes, you get work done. I agree with that completely. All right, there's a Q&A. Assisting one's journey to reclaim the Cree language and its culture. Annette, I like that. Assisting one's journey. I think we could take it a step further, Annette, and just say like reclaiming Cree language and culture as your like value add in your header would be amazing. Amazing. So I would give you that as feedback. But otherwise, like really, really well done. Really, really well done. Okay. So we have that. I want to hear some examples. I would really like to hear some more examples. Okay, Courtney's got one. Nice. Marketing operations leader building productivity and transformation in technology, grounded in data, inspired by creativity. Wow. That's so fancy. I want to hire you as an executive, Courtney. I think like we've really gotten there. I think the only thing I would recommend is a little more specificity. So if you're marketing, maybe specifically the area that you're marketing would be valuable, like maybe the sector. If it's because to me it's not really clear, maybe it's like tech, but like if we could just refine that slightly, I think that's beautiful. I give you like full kudos. Actually, you're competing with Omar for the coolest one in the room right now. Jennifer's got geospatial scientist and team meeting, or sorry, geospatial scientist and team lead meeting large-scale environmental challenges with actionable insights, satellite, remote sensing, landscape dynamics. Okay, this is great. So I'm just Jennifer, really big kudos for the end part, the keywords. You've really kind of narrowed it down to like what areas you're focusing on, and I love that. Meeting large-scale environmental challenges with actionable insights. So this part's a little bit vague for me. So if you're like, hmm, maybe we can refine that just a little bit. Like, I love the idea here. Like, I love meeting large scale environmental challenges. The last part with actionable insights, I think we need to just refine it a little bit. Maybe it's with data, maybe it's with like, I don't know, strategy or something. Just a little bit more than actionable insights because I don't know where those actionable insights are connecting to, if that makes sense. Okay. Any others? There's so many people in this room. You definitely are capable of writing this one. Oh, Dean's got one. Dean, you're my favorite. Thank you. Project management, healthcare ecosystem, board member, strategic partner engagement, reliable innovator, and strategist who develop solutions through collaborative partnerships. This is pretty good. The order is a little bit out um, from the formula, but I'm okay with that. I like the fact that you explain the sector, so healthcare ecosystem, well done. The fact that your board member is great. Strategic partner engagement is a little bit vague. I would rather you remove that. Um, and then just talk about how you develop solutions through collaborative partnerships. The innovator and strategist again is a little bit buzzy. I'm going to give you a little bit buzzy on that one because I don't really know what you're innovating on. If you're innovating on technology, that's cool. If you're innovating on strategy, that's cool. But maybe some specificity. Love it though. I especially like the first part. Okay, so full credit there. Okay. Yes, work in progress. Honestly, it's not you're not going to get it in this session. It takes some time to get through, so no sweat at all. You're doing fantabulous. Okay. All right. Now, maybe another couple seconds for some more, and then I'm going to talk about some really cool opportunities that are coming up at the U of A that you can be a part of. I just want to see if there's any last one. I'm going to check the Q&A just in case I missed anything. There's nothing in the Q&A. One more. Someone's got to give me one more. Who's going to be brave? I'm pushing you. There's 46 of you. Chief Scientific Officer, inspiring solutions to unmet health needs, biomedical and chemical engineering, antimicrobials, anti-inflammatories. Patricia, post it. It's beautiful. Patricia, you've done it. You've cracked the code. I love it. You followed the formula. You did all the things I asked you to do. This is a really good header. I like this header. It is clear. I would hire you as my chief scientific officer. So take that. Take that as put in the blank, throw it on the wall. You can record the video and play it back to yourself in the morning if that makes you feel better. But that is a great statement. So full well done. Yes, I also like how specific it is. Okay, my friends, we are 45 minutes in. We've done some hard work. I will stay, but I want to let you guys know about some cool stuff that I'm doing with the U of A. So, we are doing some targeted career advising, resume and cover letter work, as well as some resume cover and LinkedIn work. The U of A is being amazing, and they are actually subsidizing this. So you guys don't have to pay the full price that other people have to pay for these services. There's a huge, huge discount on some of this stuff. And the goal here is to make sure the U of A alumni are the best alumni in the world. We want to make sure that you guys are crushing it. If you're not already, then we can totally do this. But you can scan the QR code if you want. You can take a screenshot of this if you want. You will need to fill out a little bit of a survey just to make sure you're a U of A alumni, and then you kind of go from there. That's all. It's a super low bar, but that's what we're trying to get to. Okay. Okay. That being said, thank you. I think you've all hopefully, and it's my genuine hope that you've uncovered your strengths, you've kind of shaped them into some sort of a hero statement, and you have kind of a new tool that you can use to help you in interviews, leadership conversations, and everyday challenges. You can please add me on LinkedIn. I would love to get to know each and every one of you better. You have me as a resource. I will stay for another 5 or 10 minutes if you guys have specific questions. I would be happy to answer them and review them. You guys have been super good at participating. Thank you so much for writing in the comments. Really, really appreciate it. You guys are really, I don't know, one of the best webinar groups I have seen yet. I'm more than happy to help.
That's great, Naveed. Actually, Veronica, if you could just share the last slide, because there's a little bit of there's a QR code there for our survey. But also we're going to send the survey out by email, and on that email there will be a link to Latterly, which is Naveed's business, a link to the offering that Naveed was just talking about, and also the survey. If you could please fill it out. It's good feedback for Naveed, any of our speakers, but also to hear what other kinds of career services you might want. And I'm going to thank everyone for joining. And like Naveed said, that's kind of my closing out. But if anyone wants to stick around for another 10 minutes, Naveed can answer questions on chat there. But otherwise, thanks very much for coming. I hope you found it was good use of time and got something out of it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jen. And thanks, guys. You guys are amazing. Again, I'm going to be around, so feel free to type your questions or whatever. Annette, I see yours, so I'm just going to like dive into it. So you've got, as a holistic and ancestral indigenous knowledge keeper, it is my vision to connect my students with their indigenous ancestral identity. I really like what you're going for here. I like the aim, the goal. I think again, following the formula a little bit into kind of like the LinkedIn choppy choppy chop, which I know is a little bit difficult, would improve this just specifically for your LinkedIn header. But as actually like a hero statement, I think this is really, really great. And I think that I like the fact that you talk about your vision.
Oh, sorry.
Jonathan, I'm happy to
I
bring
was
the energy to you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jen.
I'm sorry. It's so hard to know when everyone's talking on these things, but um, are are you able to share the slides? Is that something you would be willing to attach to the
Yeah,
email or?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
100%. I'd be
great,
happy to include the slides. So you
great.
guys have the slides if you
Yeah.
need them. Okay. There's 28 of you. I'm sure there's some questions in here. I want to hear them. And Annette, you're doing great. I love what you're doing. I love the ideas here. Like really, you could take this. I know this can be like a fantastic thing, and it's a very important work. So full kudos to you. All right, I'm gonna start cold calling people if I don't get some questions here pretty quickly. I see there's Alyssa on here, Amir, Andrew, Aisha, Blanca, Joan, John, Jonathan, Kathy, Kimberly, Lisa, Mark, Niels, Patrick, and so many more of you guys. Please, please, please send me your questions. Okay, Lisa's asking, how do you shape this when you're trying to change careers? Oh, this is a good question. So one of the things that we can do when we shape our career, when we're trying to switch, is that we can just change the first role into the role that we're actually trying to get. So as an example, I was an engineer and I was trying to get a job as a strategist. And so I changed my first title, like my first the role in the first part of the formula there to strategist because that's the role I was looking for. And I was actively working towards it, right? I was doing classes in it, maybe I got a certificate in it or whatever, but changing that first word under your header. And again, I'll show you what that looks like just for clarity. Um, Give me 1 second. So just backing up here into the examples we were looking at for these. Okay, so the first word. So for example, actually none of them have them, but in the formulas that I gave you, maybe in the next one. Yeah, so here, for example, in the very first one is consultant. If you were to replace that consultant, for example, with engineer that you're trying to get into or whatever, that would automatically signal to recruiters that that's what you're trying to get into, which is really, really high value. So the first word is honestly the most important one in this one, or the first title is really, really key. So change that first word to what you're trying to get into and just actively make steps to getting there. So that somebody asks you, hey, are you interested in this interview? And they say, your header says you're a project manager. Where does that come from? Obviously, you can't lie. So if you don't have any experience as a project manager, you can't put that. But you can put the industry you're trying to get into, for example. And obviously, going from project manager from one industry to another is a very like fair switch. So it just really depends on yours. Lisa, if you want to elaborate, I can give you a specific example, and then I can tell you maybe what the first word would be to change. Jonathan's saying, just for clarity, and Emma might have the same issue. I didn't see any about sections on LinkedIn, just this headline section. Okay, so I'm going to go back to how to add the about section. It doesn't come standard. It's not like a standard piece. You have to add it. I hope this is helpful. I'm not sure if it's a different link, but essentially under your kind of your profile, when you log into your own profile, there is an add profile section that you need to click on. This window will pop up. And then under that, you go into the core section and then the add about section here. You need to click on that. And then what should happen is it should open up your LinkedIn and create that about section. It is just below, and in this example, you can see it is just kind of below the highlight section. If you have a highlight section, it would be here. And you can modify it. There will be like a pencil in the top right hand corner is what I would expect to see. Okay. Not seeing any other questions. Lisa, if you want to elaborate, this is your chance. Take advantage of it. Highly recommend. I will also say if you want to ask general career advice, I'm here for that. Just in terms of like resume, cover letter, applying to jobs, whatever. Um, Blanca says, how do you balance authenticity and uniqueness while still being marketable, meaning not using only buzzwords and being more clear in your experience. So this is an art, Blanca. Honestly, it is. There is a fine line between being buzzwordy and showing your value. So in your about section, using buzzwords is going to kill you. In your header, the more precise you can be, the better value you're going to add. And that's why the specificity in some of the examples that we saw are really important. So showing your role very clearly will then imply what you're doing. So for example, if you're a tech leader, that's your first bullet, or you're an AI engineer, and the next part explains that you create like, I don't know, opportunities for technology to be involved. That's very, very clear. It's not buzzwordy. The impact is very direct. It's because it's the first and the second one are very related, and then the words at the end are related to kind of the whole story. So if you can connect all three of those parts and it doesn't sound buzzwordy, you hit the jackpot. And I think there was a really good example earlier in the chat. I'm just going up to it. Patricia did a really good job of this. I think like it was very clear that like what she was doing was related to biomedical and chemical engineering, and then she talks about like, okay, maybe her focus is on antimicrobials and anti-inflammatories. So that's really, really powerful. Um, Jonathan, it happens to the best of us, my friends. I have tried to add sections that have already been there many, many a time, including for my clients. So don't sweat it at all. But I'm glad that you found it. Okay. Any last requests, my friends? This is your time. Use it. Use it or lose it. You can ask anything. It can be about cover letter, resume, anything. Want to make sure that you're getting the most out of this session. Double checking Q&A, going once, going twice. Okay, I'll leave it there. You have to do the survey to get a discount with Latterly. Yes, you do, Andrew. It is specifically for U of A alums. You got to do the survey to get the to be able to get the discount with Latterly. So
Actually, Naveen,
yeah.
I don't know whether he's talking about the survey for this session. We
Mm,
mean a survey after you've done the work with Naveen that we're talking about. We are evaluating whether or not this is something we want to continue with. So
yeah.
yeah.
So you don't I guess the short answer is you don't need to do the survey for this session to get the discount with Latterly, but if you want to get the discount with Latterly, you got to do the when you apply for funding, you'll get that. The QR code number. Yeah, I'll give you the QR code again. 1 second. Oh, that's not what I wanted to share.
It'll come in the email too. So
You'll get it in the email, Andrew. It'll come. Okay, my friends, thank you again for participating. This was so much fun. Add me on LinkedIn if you haven't already.